Greetings, hello, and welcome. Hey, welcome. Glad to see everyone is here. We are starting out on this is a Saturday, I think. I am back from my trip. For those of you that don't know, I was speaking at Momentum Dev Conference in Cincinnati, and at that event I was actually able to talk about live streaming. So I did another one of my presentations where we talk about live coding, what it is, and that sort of thing. So that was a lot of fun. Obviously, I want to thank the organizers for bringing me out to talk to people about that. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully you're having a pretty good day. Hey, Coated Beard, greetings. So, today, let me do the last bit of the intro. My name is Brendan. This channel is DevChatter. Welcome. If you're new here, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to chime in the chat over there. You are allowed to talk, ask questions, make suggestions, whatever. We're a fairly friendly place, so a couple of other things that I want to mention. We'll talk about the project that we're doing here on the stream. So we are going to continue on the project we were doing last time and many previous times. We are working on a community website. It's ASP.NET Core using C#, and we are binding all of our JavaScript stuff and handling all the events through a framework called VueJS. So if you're familiar with Vue or ASP.NET Core, that's what we're doing. Snickering, hey, greetings. You got your first dev job doing C#. Oh, that's awesome, Snickering. Congratulations. I hope it's a good one and that you enjoy. I like C# and .NET quite a bit. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Hey, Snickering, thank you very much for subscribing with that Twitch Prime sub. That's a nice hype way to start off the stream there. Coated Beard, help me out with some hype in the chat. And you've got the you now have a Chatosaurus egg as well. I'm assuming Coated Beard's still there to... Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Coated Beard. So the project, as I mentioned, is a community website. So obviously, website. We're gonna put this on the internet and set up this website. But the main thing is that it is a community website, and that's really what I want to emphasize here, is because it is about the live streaming community. So specifically, what we're trying to do is make it easier for anyone who wants to watch live coding to be able to find a stream that's either at a good time or doing the topics that that viewer is interested in. So for example, Snickering mentioned just starting a job in C# and .NET, so probably wants to watch C# and .NET streams, so obviously want to find those, so tagging, other stuff like that. Ideally, we'd like to be able to import from as many places as we can, so it doesn't all have to be individuals uploading the data, but we'll see how that goes. Last time, we were working on the... You know what, let me run the site, so while we talk about it, we can see the website. So, Snickering, we are using ASP.NET Core Razor pages, but along with that, we are using Web API controllers, technically. So, yeah, it's sort of MVC, but it's technically Web API MVC. So the controllers are still there. Essentially, we just don't use the view aspect of it. Is kind of the idea. We use a different way of doing views. Our views are all hosted in Razor pages, which is going to be very, very similar. It just changes the way that it binds directly with its backend piece. So it's kind of like a packaged up set of actions associated directly with the view instead of having a controller with multiple views. So you just sort of change the mindset just a little bit. But it's mostly the same concept and still gets you separation of concerns. Exactly. Right, that's the page we were working on. So when we go here, this page does a couple of interesting things. 1 second. Alright, I'm back. So, this page does a couple of interesting things. Essentially, when this loads, we go to this page through a Razor page, and I will show you that real fast. Root guy, I saw you ask a question. Give me 1 second to get back to you on that. So here's what it does. This page pulls its data, and I believe it's doing it like temporarily poorly, but we're not terribly worried about that. So we, whoops, not edit. What? Why am I in edit? What? No. No, not my channels. I want to show you this one. So we pull back some data from this. The data we pull back is a channel that we display on the page. That data on the page, currently the schedule is hard-coded. We need this to get extracted out, either to come in from that call right here, or this needs to be a secondary call from the VueJS to get the data from a Web API controller. We'll decide in a second which one we're going to do, but I'm guessing it's going to be the latter. This one, that live status, you'll notice it's this kind of like, you know, vibrant, you know, reddish blue color, so it's kind of a purple, but, you know, a little bit more red, so it's maybe a pinkish color, whatever that is a VueJS binding right there. So our VueJS code is over here going to make a call to check and see, hey, is that site live? And right now all we're doing is we just hard-coded in a little thing that says, hey, yep, make it live, make it not live. And this was sort of just our, you know, let's just put a thing together, we'll make this page kind of work, and then we'll make it right later. So it's just kind of hacked together. This is our VueJS code here. And yeah, we won't deal with that. Actually, I should keep that page open. What am I doing? Let's leave that open because we're still messing with this. Okay, so this schedule needs to come from somewhere. This is some description of the page. This needs to come from the back end, and so does this. So let's do that. So the name was bound. What else do we have? Do we have channel details? I'm not sure if that's actually a thing that we have. What is love, Crimson? What is love? Oh, glad it sounds good, Snickering. Root guy, do I use Xamarin any? I have used Xamarin a little bit, not recently. So if you have a specific question about Xamarin, I am probably not the person to ask right now. I miss people saying hi, greetings, welcome. I'm gonna guess, and I maybe have guessed before. Blakai, welcome, greetings. Ace Flames here, hello. If I butcher anybody's name, let me know. And Crimson Green, you almost hired a guy this week till I saw C# on his resume. Oh, yeah, you don't want to hire a C# guy. They're way too smart to work with you. Oh, sorry. Anyway, you were best in C#. What was I supposed to do? Anyway, I was just kidding. No, we love Crimson Green here. He's awesome. Channel details. Hey, S&B, greetings. All right. So two things that I want to put in here. So let's just make a little to-do list section. What is it? It's at and asterisk. All right. So here's our comment section. Let's make a couple of notes. We're just going to make our to-do list of things that that we need to get in here. We need link to the live site from. We're going to call this from model from model shown based on. You know what? There should actually be a link to the we'll say Twitch page. That should come from the model. This should always be here. There should always be the link, whether it's live or not. I was about to say only do the link if it's live, but no, we want to show it regardless. We want to pull schedule data from the VueJS call. Or model if they're already. Okay, so what I need to check, we pull a large set of model data. if I'm already getting the basic schedule, not next stream, but the general schedule, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to just use that data. If it's not on there, that will be a separate view call, is the way that that's going to work. So that's how I'm going to decide. Show next stream, next 5 stream times. Okay, so this thought is this one. We want to show the schedule. That's going to be a weekly schedule. This is just what the next 5 are. So if someone streams more than 5 times a week, we're not even going to show a week's worth of next ones. But if someone only streams once a week, then we'll show 5 weeks worth of data. We're just going to show the next 5. That's the idea. Stuff blowing up in chat. Crimson Green. Crimson. Also, welcome everybody. Glad to see people showing up and talking in chat. Super smart folks, those C# people are. Thanks, Jadiscu. Yellow bar. Oh, I am so sorry, Will. I am so sorry. Can I get you an extra yellow bar up there? That is my mistake. Not as red as Now, we like C# here, but I will point out there are so many great programming languages out there. It's really hard to say that one is like the answer. I like C#. It's nice because it's a versatile language. By the same token, all the people that rave about F#, one of the nice things about that is F# again runs on .NET, so it has a lot of the same versatility that C# does. So really, using any kind of a platform like that, running on one of these runtimes where you can leverage a lot of existing resources as well, and you've got a great community around it, those are great places to write code. Any reason why you've chosen to pull the release schedule from the VueJS call? James, so that is a fantastic question. So I only want to pull the schedule data from the VueJS call if I don't already have the model data. The thought here being, if I've got the data with a simple call, I will just go ahead and do it. The reason not to is if I don't want to slow down the page or something along those lines, I can do that. Essentially, the idea is any call that's easy to just make, I'm going to have that data there initially. So, hence why I said or model if already there. So my guess is that we're already going to have the schedule there. The next 5 streams, that is very likely going to be a second call, because I don't know how fast that one's going to be. Also, we're already planning on having an API that mentions the next time someone is going to be streaming. So it does not seem difficult to say, give me the next 5 times someone's going to stream. That seems like the kind of API that we're going to want to have anyway. Show pulled from VueJS JS call. We'll do that. All right, let's take a look at what's in this data. This is a channel. Channel has scheduled streams, which is just the IDs. Okay, so it's not actually going to have them unless I make an extra call for them, which I can do. Oh, it has the view models for them already, so I'd planned on doing that, it seems. Okay, that's cool. Am I wearing my dancing shoes? I didn't get the reference there, but no, I'm not wearing any dancing shoes. I'm not even wearing shoes, Will. That's the nice thing about working from home. I don't have to wear shoes if I don't want. Any reason why you just... Will, thanks very much for the Twitch Prime sub. And what is love? Oh, I got it. No need to wear dancing shoes for that. But that is some hype there in the chat, everyone. Let's just hype up the chat. Worked the previous, got angry at our React code and half introduced Flask. Now the next guy is sick of Flask and wants to go back to React. Oh, that's fun, Fuel Snable. It is always the best when you're just switching between frameworks. Have a good lurk, S&B. We will see you back in an hour. So we apparently set up the plan being to get these. Let's find out who was creating these. Someone was creating this object. Gets created here. Where does this get called? Right here. No, I don't want that one. I want... Where did this get called? Which one's gonna have it? That's schedule, schedule, schedule. Oh, man, they're only used here? What are the other ones? Edit model? No. Do I not have an index model? Don't have the ones I thought I was gonna have. We must not display it anywhere yet. I don't think we're doing this. So here's what we're gonna do. We don't want this to be the view model. We want this to be the index model, maybe. So we're gonna make a new type. Okay. I'm gonna go over here. Create a class. We're gonna call it index model for now. It is gonna be even simpler than this one, I think, unless it is just that one. No, we're gonna use the view model. It gets no simpler than this one. And we're not editing it, so it's a view-only model, so we'll leave it this way. It will be the view model. CRUD repository repo. I'm going to create this real fast. This will be a second call to the database, actually. Can I get all... What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Hey! Midton. Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. Much appreciated. Glad you're enjoying the stream, and welcome to the DevChatter crew. Please be sure to enjoy your hype and derp emotes here in the chat, as well as on the rest of Twitch. Some of you use Razor components in MVC. Yeah. It's good stuff, Janisku. Alright. Scheduled stream. I can type words. Alright. Whoops. I'm gonna var that for now, because I forgot to call await before I did that, which means that my tooling did not actually give me the correct type there. It tried to make that a task. This is not async. Async. On get async. This will be a task of action result, which probably at some point it was that and I undid it. We'll see. RPC and RPS are definitely not the same thing there, Janisku. That is something completely different. Alright. Get all those. I need to change how our repository works. I need it to be able to take in... I need to be able to take in an expression of some kind, I think, in order for that to work nicely. So what did I do? I made this use... So I went stupid simple with this, and I didn't actually create a specification at all. Why didn't I make a specification? You know what? Instead of get all, maybe I should have a get because it's not all necessarily. It's a get, but it does, but it's by multiple IDs maybe. Enumerable of int, we'll call it IDs, and it will return back a list of T instead of just a single T. So we'll do that. One sec. Nobody wants to watch us sneeze on stream. That sounds awful. Alright, task list of T, get T. So this is going to get by IDs multiple. We're going to get multiples of that object. I think that might be good enough. So we're going to do a get, and then this... What? That's on the repo. Oh, but it needs to pass in an ID of some kind, right? Yeah. Scheduled stream IDs. There we go. And yes, I'm aware of the fact that this code doesn't do anything yet. This is streams. And I want to say scheduled streams equals streams.select. And we are going to select these streams, doing a toView model, and then toList. And then that will essentially convert them into the structure that I want to use for displaying them. Which is a simple conversion. Just so we're clear here, that's not really doing anything other than just a basic mapping of the data, which we could swap for AutoMapper at some point if we want to on that. On this other one, we need to actually write this code. It doesn't exist yet. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the implementation of our repository and tell it to implement the member. So it gives us this little stub here, and I am going to take this, do this with it for now. So we are using Dapper for our ORM. Dapper is a micro ORM, which means that it is only doing part of the work for us. So in this case, we have we're gonna say where ID. Ooh, how do you do the multiple in this one? Hang on, there's Dapper, where is it? Here it is. Exists. This one. No, where is it? Thought I did this in here somewhere. I must do it somewhere else. Hang on. I need to look at our Dapper project because I need to find how to do something. How do I... Ah, here it is. The arguments. Okay, that was for a like. Maybe I can actually just say where ID in IDs. Maybe I can get away with that. We're not doing a query single. We're just doing a query async. And then I need to toList it, right? What's the result of that? ID connection of T. That was the problem, I think. Oh, I need to wrap it. Derp. Okay, So I had to wrap that in parentheses in order to get toList to work, and the reason why you have to do that is because of the fact that Lightman Den, you are right. That's the second error. So you are correct. But the reason why I had to surround in order to be able to call toList is because this await, the way that syntax works in C#, the await is going to apply to the expression here, and the toList does not return a task. If there were a toList async style method or something like that, I could have awaited it. So that's actually the scenario that I was getting. The reason why the section inside the parentheses then was red squiggling is what Lightman Den pointed out, which is that this method, even though it does return a task, also has to have the async keyword in here before we can make an await expression actually happen. So the await expression needs to be inside of the parens so that it resolves to a completed task before we call toList on it. So the await has to happen inside the parens here. That's the idea. So that should actually get us our data. And now that we have that, I should be able to get rid of this and actually just display it. What did I do when I did my mapping? I said time zone name. Where did this come from? Did I get the generic name? Get names for time zone, and I pulled generic. Perfect. So let me show you all something real fast here. So this is the website. Here's the page. So on this page, I want you to notice that what I wrote here, I'm going to make this text nice and big for you. The schedule of my stream that's listed right here, sort of behind my head a little bit there. It says Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It does not say 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight. It does not say 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. I specified explicitly here when I wrote this that I wanted the generic descriptor of the time zone I was in. And so what that means is this value is the one I want, and it's already pulling the correct one. So let's take a look at what happens when I do this. We're going to do a quick for each loop, and we're going to say model.scheduled streams. So for every one of those, we want to create a row like this, and it's going to be at scheduled hang on. This needs a rename. Stream. Day of week. So that's going to say like Monday at start time at stream time zone name. Alright, I changed a bunch of stuff, which means this is going to need a recompile. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the website, and we're going to take a look at it running in the browser and see what we get. I did not see the results of the Hangman game. Did you win? What was the word? Too many guesses. It was JUnit. Oh, it was one of the evil ones. It was one of the evil ones. Did you at least get to the point where it was unit? That's what I'm wondering about. Yeah, JUnit. Yeah, there's like didn't even get one letter. Oh, nice, Ace Flames here. So that was an epic round. Nemo, welcome, hello, greetings. Unity. Yeah. It was exactly, yes, Dino Unit. Okay, so the cool thing, and I didn't mention this to people, this live status little marker here, which that is not going to be the permanent one, that was just something that we could toss in the website and be like, yeah, look, it works. That is actually detecting that we are live, because again, this is looking at this stream, so of course we're live, we're here. Wait, did I refresh this? I don't think I refreshed this yet. There we go. Okay, so the schedule did not come up. I wonder why. I figured we would get a different result than that, but that's fine. So let's drop that there. Did I not set the value? No, I did. Maybe scheduled streams came back null or something weird like that. We'll find out in a second. And by null, I mean empty. Maybe a silly question. I wouldn't worry about silly questions. Feel free to ask. But after working with ASP.NET Razor for almost 10 years, isn't the Razor pages a step back again to the initial ways where layouts were quite messed up? No, I don't feel so. So I also am someone that has had MVC like applications with I guess deployed to production before there was technically a go live license. I've been using it for a long time. Really do like what it does. The big thing with MVC is actually the separation and avoiding the tight coupling that you had between a back-end CS page and a front-end website. And part of the reason for that, there's a couple of things we were avoiding. One of those is the illusion of state that was created by web forms. So web forms did that in a couple of ways. One of those is it had view state is one of the big problems that it had. Some of the other issues that were going on here are that those objects were actually always getting created on the model both by the designer and by the page. So what that meant is that they had a very tight coupling to each other. In addition, everything was doing an event structure. So your backend page really had an understanding of how the page was building itself, which created a lot of that tight coupling. So when you were writing web forms, you could write it in a way that allowed you to unit test it and things like that. But it made it a little bit more difficult because of the coupling. In this case, we are not connected in that same way. Instead, what we have is this backend page that we use is sort of like it's as connected to the view at realistically as the controller is. So this does not really know what's on the view, and that's part of the important aspect. This knows about data that we're going to display on there, but it does not know that there are buttons. It doesn't know what I'm doing with the data on the view. It just provides it the data, and that's the big difference. Let's see. So it's really just about the direction of information, like what's depending on what. Told you Crimson wins. Oh, congratulations, Crimson. Thomas, you want to know how I got the terminal icon to the sidebar? Which terminal icon? What are you talking about? Terminal icon? This one? Which terminal icon? If you help me figure that out better, I will try to answer the question. I don't know which terminal you're talking about. If you're talking about this terminal down here, I mean, that's just built into VS Code, if you meant that one. But let me know, and I will try to answer that question. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to the page, see what happens regarding the schedule. So I go here. Scheduled streams, no scheduled stream IDs. There's the problem. Okay, so we figured it out. This aggregate didn't come back with the data. So let's go figure that out. Scheduled streams were... select ID from... I mean, alternately, what we could do is this. We could just go this route and just straight up put them on that object. Which I guess we'll do, even though I'm not a big fan of that. We'll see what this does to it. Let's look at the ramifications of this decision. 5 references? That doesn't sound terrible. I'm not totally scared about that. Thanks, Crimson. Yeah, I'm a caffeine addict, I admit it. Caffeine addict. Let's see, so this should then be in the other project. Yep, there it is. Select star from scheduled streams where channel ID matches that, which means instead of reading these, we're going to read scheduled streams. Hang on, everybody. I see a couple of questions in chat that I will get to in a moment. This one also should change from ID to star, and we'll get the same result there. Let's build one last time and see what happens. Okay, last one's right here, and that should be this page. Yeah, that's us now, which means we no longer need to do that. Instead, what we want to do is we want to actually get these as view models. I still want to have this separation, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull it from the channel instead of having a second call to get them. So it'll do that instead. We're going to select them and we're going to to-list them, and that'll put them on the scheduled stream. Alright, let's build one last time. This no longer needs to be async, because we're not calling it. And since we're not doing the call anymore, I am going to go to the iCrud repository, get rid of that even though I don't mind that we did it, I'm not going to have extra code we're not using yet. We can add that back in again later if we need it. And I see stuff happening in chat. Just give me a second to finish the thing I'm doing. Let's build this, and then we'll run the website. And hopefully you all haven't been saying like, hey, you're messing this up, don't forget this thing. At which point I will have already been so long after it that I will have missed the opportunity to fix it when you were pointing it out. And if you're wondering what the connections not private complaint is that it's making, that is actually just referring to, oh, maybe you know what? I went through all that trouble, and I just realized what the problem is. And I'm going to fix it in a minute, but you're all going to laugh when you see what the problem is. Let me check out chat. The PowerShell in Visual Studio Code. Yeah. So Visual Studio Code just has a terminal built in by default. So what you can actually do is you can go up to View, and you can go down to Terminal. The way that I usually bring it up is by hitting Control and backtick, which if you're on an American keyboard, I don't know what keyboard you've got, but if you have the same one as ours, the backtick's on the same key as the tilde. So I just hit this key and it opens and closes that terminal down there. So Control backtick. It points it out right here, Control backtick, to bring up the terminal. If you want to choose which kind of terminal you want, there is customization of that. So if you want it to be for example, I believe in the settings you can change which one it is. I'm not going to go through my settings because there could be some things I don't want to show on stream. But I believe one of these settings will let you change which terminal it is, so it doesn't have to be a certain one. I forgot to mention, Static, welcome, thanks for following, and Matthias, I'm guessing, thanks for following as well. Much appreciated. And, okay, so what was going on in chat? Did I miss anything else before Thomas's follow-up there? Nope. Yeah, I saw that. We were talking about that last night. I don't know what is a caffeine buzz, but there's a constant stream of caffeine. Yeah, exactly. Many of us have, we have really high tolerances for caffeine, too. Digital Drummer, hey, welcome. It's going pretty well. No problem with being late. We are still here and going to be writing some code. But I have the icon at the sidebar. Oh, this! Oh, I have no idea what that is. New thing? I don't know. That doesn't mean anything to me. Maybe I added this in at some point. It might be an extension I installed at some point. Seems like it's got a lot of, like, all the basic PowerShell commands that I would otherwise use. Looks super useful. I would guess it's an extension I installed. Let me check. I'm betting I installed an extension. No, I don't think that's new. I don't know. Something. At some point I put it in here. I don't have a good answer. I think it's an extension. Oh, Digital Drummer. That icon is an extension. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah. I was like, I think it is, but I don't remember. Oh, so anyway, I mentioned that you were all going to laugh when you found out why this wasn't working. I'm going to laugh too, because it's good. And hang on, I don't remember my password. No, nobody watch the screen. I don't want you to see my password. It's super secret. I don't want you to see it while I copy and paste it. Look away. Look away. Super secret. I totally use this at my bank too. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so we're logged in to the account that for our test. Like, this is testing on our local dev site, so it doesn't really matter. But here's what we've got. Look at our schedule. Look at how many streams are on here. Oh right, there aren't any. No wonder it didn't work. Wait, what happened? The connection is closed. What? Oh, son of a! This is the thing. I don't know if S&B's back, but he fixed this bug. Did he send us a pull request on that? Don't use beef stew as a password. It's not stroganoff. Ba-dum-ching. No, S&B didn't send us the pull request. Okay. I know what to do to make it work temporarily. We need to go to the scheduled stream service. And doop. That should be all we need to do, and then this one, we're just gonna do that as well. Same thing? Yep, there we go. Herpaderp. Wait. Crimson, I'm sorry, hang on. Alright, so what's going on? Herpaderp. What was that on screen? Oh, the derp? Yeah. Hang on. I just killed the bot, so you're not gonna be able to hype and derp. I restarted. The bot should be restarting. We'll see if it loads. Yeah, I just said I turned. Look, it's already loading. That's what that page was. So bot's restarting. Just give it a second. Yeah. It's PowerShell extension that comes with the Command Explorer. Oh, cool. Thanks for the heads up there, Digital Drummer. I can never remember what those things are that I installed. There's only a couple that I remember really well, which is specifically, I remember the productivity power tools in Visual Studio, and the reason I remember that one is that I've answered the question of why are your tabs a different color on the top of the Visual Studio here? So like, I've literally been asked that so many times now that I remember that one. You had to install it to verify. Yeah, see, I knew it was a thing, but I didn't remember which one it was. That's the problem, is you can't remember. Like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and remove that parameter because we're not using it now. We managed to get rid of that. Just change up how things work a little bit, and that should have killed our session. So I don't want an integrated PowerShell right now. I want this one. So we're gonna restart the website, and once that does, we're gonna go ahead and check out this page again. Yes, I know, I have a self-signed certificate, thank you. Wait, what? Oh, we must not have wired that page up to actually route, did we? Oh, right, because it would be details. Okay, never mind. I'm just an idiot. No, you shouldn't mess around in the address bar. Let's try this again. Create the same one. Hey, fixed. All right, we fixed the bug. Thanks, S&B. You weren't even here and you got us a bug fix, so that's fantastic. We need to fix the styling of that, and so I'm just setting up. This is actually the legitimate schedule of the stream here. I'm just go ahead and putting it in. So there it is, and this will be Saturday. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 2, 2, noon, and 1. And all those are 2 hours long, so that appears to be our schedule. So the reason I couldn't get it to display the schedule on the page, I didn't actually have the data in there, so it was all working perfectly probably the whole time, and I was like, what's going on? Why isn't it working? And there it is, Monday at that Eastern, Tuesday at that Eastern. So that looks right, but we want to change the display of these. So right now I'm displaying it in Eastern time. Which really is one of the best ways to display it, but we maybe should show it in your time zone. So let's add that. Well, actually, hang on. Before we do that, let's do this. So we're gonna say, whoops, Resharp was trying to help me. Show these in viewers time zone 1 viewer. So we're going to show those in the time zone of the person that is looking at this. The other ones are going to be easier to do that. So we're saying something here. Let's say next 5. Next 5 streams, or something like that. For each var session in model.stream sessions, let's call this stream. It is called a stream session, right? Yeah, okay. We want to do UL. This is definitely an unordered list despite the fact that it has an order. It's that we don't really want to display based on an order, so since we don't want to show numbers, we're not going to. We're going to put in a list item here that has the data. So we'll say session dot start time is all we're going to put on for now, just to see it display, right? Those values we all want to have modified by something like moment.js or some equivalent, because it's probably good enough to just try and guess it into the correct time zone for the person, especially if we display what time zone we displayed it in. So if we are off by a little bit, they can at least tweak. Alright, I'm going to catch up on chat before I go too far in here. I should try the GitLens extension. For VS Code, I will take a look. You need a command to answer that question with a link to the extension. I mean, I guess I could. Yes, Crimson, you absolutely could make a command for that. Dapper Wrapper, Dino Wrapper, Dapper. Exactly. Yeah, Janisku, definitely is. I have a love-hate relationship with GitLens. Useful when I need it, but am I using Dark Reader? No, Will, I don't think so. Since I don't know what Dark Reader is. How are you going to look up the time zone? Steve, so there's a couple of ways that we can look up a time zone, although I'm not planning on doing the time zone lookup myself. My plan for that one is to have Moment.js just display it for them in their time zone. Which essentially is kind of like asking their browser to do it. So I'm going to just let Moment.js handle it for me. Regarding the actual selection of a time zone, there are services that let you look up where the person is coming from based on their IP address, and those can actually get you that kind of information, which if we need to, we can leverage that to be able to get an initial time zone spot. Though if we go that route, I will probably give them the ability to change the time zone with a little drop down, and we could potentially display it differently based on their selection. Stoolpinner, good evening, welcome. You're watching on the phone. Well, I hope you either have a lot of data or are connected to Wi-Fi. DevStreams API and site. Yes, Janisku, we do want to make an API available for this so that other people can use it. Joe, Philly, did I use VS 2019 yet? I did. So the most recent release I have not installed yet, and I don't want to because despite the fact that the RC of 2017 was like just a straight upgrade into the final version, it actually did cause a couple of issues on my computer based on the fact that I did go from the RC to the actual release version. We will be running VS 2019 on April 2nd when it launches. So as soon as we have that, which actually, what day is that? That is a Tuesday. So if it releases early in the morning, which they usually do, so most of the releases of new Visual Studios are in the morning of the day that they say they're releasing. So very likely what we will do on stream is I will have already installed it before we get started on that Tuesday so that we are using it the whole time. Have them choose a time zone as part of the sign-up process. James, we may have people do that so that we can default to what their time zone is if they are registered. But we also want to make sure that we handle people that do not want to log in. So since we don't want to require that people log in, then we won't necessarily always have that information. But yes, James, you're absolutely right. If they can give us the info, we will, because they can tell us their default time zone, and that will make it a lot easier. Can't wait for VS for Mac. It's more like VS and less like... Yes, exactly, Steve. If you run VS for Mac, I am sure you have recognized that that's not really Visual Studio. It can kind of do some of the same stuff, but you can tell that it was... I mean, it was definitely just another code base that they're like, yeah, let's make this more Visual Studio-like. Okay, so that page, not perfect, does show us our data, so that's good. We'll tweak a little bit later, because realistically, I like the 1400, 1200, and 1300. Like the Americans aren't gonna most of them are not gonna know what, like, they use AM PM time here, not 24-hour time. So, 1 second, everyone.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
Stoolpenner, your timing. Let's see, there's a launch stream. Yes. I'm not terribly surprised. Microsoft is actually also getting into live streaming a little bit more than they were. I'm gonna go ahead and rerun that for Stoolpenner there,
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
because we're weird here. Stoolpenner with an 8-month resub. That's awesome. Oh man, I'm looking forward to next month, Stoolpenner. We'll have the 9-month Twitch baby. Yeah, that timing was perfect. I was like, "Hey, be right back," and then you send in the Twitch Prime 7. But either way, awesome. Thanks, much appreciated. Let's go ahead and take a look. So I want to show those. So we need stream sessions to actually exist. So let's create it. Create property. It made IEnumerable. That's fine. It can be an IEnumerable. We don't need anything more than that technically. So it's more accurate than what I'm doing. Stream sessions equals. Now, where do we get these? I wonder. Where do I usually get these? Guess we'll jump over here. Ooh, is that what we do? Channel in the stream session. Oh yeah, because we do a search. Right. Yeah, I remember now. Okay, I got it. I get what we're doing. Get rid of these. What happens if I back up now? Do these come back? Ooh, perfect. There we go. Problem solved. I got exactly what I wanted. Yeah. That worked out great. Repo. No, I don't want a repo. How do we get those? Dapper. Services, scheduled stream. No, I want sessions. Session lookup. Hang on, what's going on in chat? One of C# Fritz's teachings to do with this. Yours is a bit off. My what's a bit off, Stoolpenner? Oh, my time. Yeah, my timing's off. Yeah. Blast is on cooldown. You have to wait 0 seconds. That's awesome. Derp. Yeah, so I will say regarding Stream Decks, I absolutely love these things. I have been using a Stream Deck for over a year now, and they are just wonderful devices. I can't say enough great stuff about them. I had been yelling at people forever. Yeah, Janisku, because it only displays down to seconds, so I have a feeling that there was a fraction of a second still remaining on that cooldown. It's not still on cooldown, is it? No, it's not. At 2:06, you fired a herp derp. Now it's going to be on cooldown again. Yeah, because I'd been yelling at Fritz to get one of those. He did eventually. I don't know if he got it because I'd been yelling at him too, or if he asked someone else, or if he'd already been planning on getting one. That I don't know. But absolutely love the devices. They are great. And seriously, at this point, I actually think Elgato should be like sending Fritz money for all the people that he got to buy Stream Decks. I swear, like half of the people he talked to just went out and bought them. Okay, I hit a challenge. I need to figure out something related to how I want this to work. So, we're using Dapper in order to do our data access. If I were using Entity Framework for this, I would be using some kind of an object. I usually use what I call a specification, using essentially a set of code to give me the filtering expressions that I can use at runtime to filter my data. I don't get that with Dapper because I would have to write my own code to translate from a link expression, doing the filtering of the data, into SQL, which again, if I'm going that far, I'm practically, rewriting one of the big pieces of Entity Framework, and that's just silly. So instead, I need to come up with a simpler approach for what I can add that doesn't totally bind my CRUD repository to any specific type that I have here, but also makes it possible to do some basic filtering of the data on the database side. So I want the SQL to do a bit of the filtering. So options include, I could add some kind of a filter to these calls, where maybe the filter is string and like a data model object that we add in there. So instead of a get all with an ID, we could do like this. Get all t and string filter and object args. We might be able to get away with that. This is a little too Dapper specific, though, which is my only problem with it. It's a little too Dapper specific. Oh, Will, that sounds fantastic. I should absolutely be using that. Because that's one of the things that bugs me, is the number of websites where I can't get any kind of a dark theme. I will take a look at that. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual repository. We're going to add in that implementation there. Let's go ahead and do this real fast. Now this value, I should really specify on here. Should never come from user input. That should absolutely never come from user input because I'm putting it in the string. So because that that field, it is super important that never have a problem. Oh, whoops! It goes in here, right? Potat Dev, welcome. Thanks for following. Much appreciated. What has this? Been using for a while and loving it. Just found out Clark.io is using it too. Oh, that's nice. And Lightman is also apparently using it. That's fantastic. Yeah, I will definitely check out Dark Reader. It should be good. This needs an async, which Lightman Den is about to chime in chat about that. Where filter that? Okay, so not ideal. I have some serious reservations about that, but I don't have a good solution to it just yet. So it's what we're going with for now. Var sessions equals awaits hang on, async task of action result on get async, and then we will await the underscore repo get all stream sessions. The object we pass in will be a new object with the property. So it's going to be a new anonymous object with the property of ID equals. Well, we're just going to say ID. So we're going to say channel ID equals @ID. Okay. That should be enough to make that work. Am I using Dapper and EF Core? Steve, technically yes. Technically yes. We are using Dapper for everything that's not the authorization system, and the reason being that I didn't want to go rewrite all of the Lightman Dan, I am using Dapper. It is actually using a SQL query. The part that is vulnerable is this piece here. This string literal is vulnerable to SQL injection. The parameter itself is not. This is actually using SQL parameters. It's using it through Dapper, which is another service. So you cannot SQL inject this ID value, which is the one that is actually user input. So no, we are safe from SQL injection, additionally based on the fact that that parameter is always an integer. Yes, that would be a good catch. It looks like it isn't because I'm not using the standard the standard built into .NET SQL classes. I'm not using SQL parameter, but it is actually a parameterized query, so we are safe from that. The reason why we're still using EF is because I did not want to go rewrite all of the authorization pieces in Dapper. Yeah, no problem, Dan. Dan, you actually should mention that exact kind of thing, because if I didn't have that covered, then yes, that would be important. Yep, no, great question. And that is actually why in my call to this, here, look. Oh, why is it not showing? Hang on. Why is the helper text not showing? I'm not sure why my XML comment isn't showing. It should be. Either way. Yeah, this parameter is the one you have to watch out for, which is why I put that warning on there, because this actually is part of like your code. This is supposed to be the data input from the user. Stream sessions dot session equals sessions dot select, and I saw someone else say something in chat. Give me 1 second. Might have just been a hi, but either way, we're gonna view model that. Wait, these were just stream sessions. I'm gonna view model it all the same, I think. Is there no? Oh, maybe there is no view model on this. Alright, we're going to do that for now. I won't worry about the view model for this one. Okay, we'll do that. Details. Stream session, we should be showing that. Let's jump over to the site, stop it, and give it a restart there. Dobie, welcome, hi, greetings. What's your reason for using Dapper over EF? Steve, so we use EF in all of our other projects. That is legit the reason we're doing Dapper on this one. So all the other projects we do on stream, we use EF, and I wanted to show a different approach for this one. So we're using Dapper. There you go. It's that we didn't want to use only Dapper, or only EF. Yep. EF Core is what we use in our other projects. You could use OData with. Hi, Ancient Coder, greetings, welcome. Greendorf, that was the Stack Overflow guy? Stack Overflow guy? Steve, Dapper works reasonably well. It's got some things that are better and worse than the I guess than EF. There are a handful of things that are just 100% straight up Dapper's better than EF for some things. Like no questions. Some aspects of Entity Framework Core, and really Entity Framework in general, not just Core, are really, really amazing. I love the fact that it can convert my my expressions of function of T of bool into the SQL for me. That's really, really amazing. So I wish I could do that same kind of thing separate from EF Core. And if we could, then that would be like, you know, I would be like, yeah, no, absolutely. We're going to take that. It's going to write SQL. One of the things that makes Dapper really nice is that it is lightweight and fast. I don't want that to bleed through our application, though, so we're being careful about how it is connected to things. Have I watched the series Silicon Valley? I know of the series, Toby, but I have not actually watched it yet. There is just so much stuff on TV, so many books I want to read, so much stuff I want to do. I never have time to get to all of it. Do you like it? Is there something you want to bring up about it, Toby? Yeah, Greendolf. Yeah, so John Skeet was actually on the stream when we started this project, which is why we're using Notatime to handle all of our date time stuff, and why we're handling time zones correctly, because he made sure that we talked with him about this and figured out how we wanted to structure our data so that we would do this project in a way that would work well going forward. So John Skeet is his name. Is there a way to just use the iQueryable provider from EF to generate the SQL from the expression tree? Maybe, Steve, maybe. We might be able to get it to just create the SQL. The thing that we need to figure out if we go that route is how do we get it to not have to rewrite the SQL every time necessarily? Like, can we get that cached in some fashion? And the reason why is that I don't want to just lose any of the benefits of using Dapper just to get the benefits of EF Core, because then I think we'd have you know, some of the problems of both then as well, and it just seems silly at that point. Greendolf, your custom ORM can convert an expression tree into SQL. See, Greendolf has been trying to sell us on his custom ORM since long before we added Dapper into our project. Greendolf is awesome, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know. Not that we're using ORM yet, but we might at some point. Who knows? We'll see. All right. Oh, and it caches. Nice. Caches the queries so that it doesn't have to figure out the query again. Yep, that's good. That's good. A couple of things I should mention since there are people here. I want to talk about a couple of things. First off, all the code that we do here on stream is actually out on GitHub at github.com/devchatter. So if you want to see any of the stuff we're doing here, that's the place to check out the code. And if you want to chat with me or anybody else that's on here outside of the stream, best place to do that is our Discord. Link over there in the chat as well as down below. Discord, for those of you that don't know, is a chat application. It's commonly used by gamers and Twitch streamers. It's very good at audio, but it is starting to compete with some of the other ones as well. And, well, either way, the point being, Discord has a bunch of things that I like better than, like, say, Slack or something like that, or Microsoft Teams. And, yeah, so if you want to chat with us, there's a bunch of channels about all kinds of stuff. So it's a bunch of other people that are really interested in tech. Alright. What's this page look like? Swizzle. There's the streams. Let's go back here. Do 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 do. Okay, so we pull all these. Now the question is, where do we want to limit? So we can put the limit so that it's only 5. We could say like, well, I should probably just say next streams, right? I just put that 5 there as a reminder for us mostly. So next streams is right here. But how many do we want to show? I think we limit that. We could limit that client side. I think we'll limit it server side. What? Oh, I have to, if I want to do that, I gotta do this. Alright, we'll just do this for now. Alright, that's what we're gonna put in. Second, nope, needs a rebuild. Oops. And Will, thanks for chiming in with that stuff. Do I have experience with F#? So I have not done any DB stuff with F#. I haven't actually used F# in quite a while. Back when I used to use it, I really just did like some basics with it. That was like, I don't know, probably not quite a decade ago. Might have been like 2011, 2012 was the last time I really did anything with F#. It's been a long time, so to be honest, I don't even remember F# all that well. So I want to do F# on the stream. We will be doing some of that, especially like my relearning F# because I don't really remember it at all. So it should be fun. F# is a sore subject for Will and Fuel Snable. Hey, Simon! Welcome. We are doing well, and welcome back. Q# Bennett. F# Bennett? I don't know. Alright, there we go. So there's our next streams, limited down to 5. Simon, quick question while you're here. Hang on. No, not that one. That's S&B, that's who. Is this Simon? No. No, I guess it was just this one. Yeah, no problem. Procrastination's fun, Simon. Need more ASM. ASM actually reminded me. People that watch this stream a bunch have probably remembered that I've had a repeat guest a few times on here that was usually referred to by most of you as Santa. His name is Guy Royce, and he is an awesome, awesome person, good friend of mine. And Guy is, well, let's just put it this way. While I was at Momentum DevCon, Guy was there also, and we were talking about some cool stuff that we want to do. So we do want to do some WebAssembly stuff on the stream, but we want to do it in a funny way. So I could go and I could grab Blazor and we could do some C#, and I'm going to do that at some point. But instead of doing that, we're thinking about doing something mind-numbing because it's more fun. So we're thinking about actually writing some like WebAssembly text and doing like a kata, maybe FizzBuzz or something like that. Should be a lot of fun. You had Guy out in Phoenix for your .NET user group. That is awesome, Digital Drummer. Yeah. So, Guy is what was he speaking on when he was there? Digital Drummer, was it WebAssembly stuff, or was it like machine learning stuff? Should write a .NET VM in WebAssembly. Yeah, Steve, totally yeah. Yeah, all over that. That's absolutely what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think I may have a couple of open issues in there. Yeah, Simon, that's what I was joking about. That I would. Which is why I love that you then mentioned procrastination. It was good. Yeah, no worries. I was just kidding. I have been the most lax in getting back to. Yeah. Wait a minute. Is that a kittens one? Janescu, I didn't know you were subbed to kittens too. Although actually, I think I let my kittens sub lapse at one point. His Bigfoot talk one night and his Viking talk. Oh yeah, the Bigfoot talk and the Viking talk. Yeah, they're both good. That's awesome, Digital Drummer. Yep. Yeah, guy is pretty good. We like having him around. The funny thing, at Momentum last year, I was trying to help him and get him convinced to do like live streaming on his own. C# did some raid on one Tuesday on Fiercekin stream, and okay. Oh yeah, I think I was there. Did it get gifted to you, Janiscu? That might have been what it was. I think I might have been there when that happened, actually, because I'm often lurking around in Fierce Kitten's stream. I usually just have her on in the background while I'm working on other stuff. So, good stream, actually. Hers are quite fun. She is a little crazy. She's nice, though. Nothing wrong with crazy. 5, 3, no, we'll do it that way. Shift that over, there we go. But then when this does this, it works out fine. Yep, okay. We still need to fix our header. You'll notice there's a bit of a styling issue. We'll get to that at some point. When that button got added in, it kind of messed up the space. Oh my lord! Production quality of her stream is amazing. Yeah, Digital Drummer, she's a very good streamer. Feel free to close them down if you want. It's a big client project. Yeah, I know how that goes, Simon. Are you going to push some of the stuff you have worked on DevStreams to master anytime soon? S&B, the code that we're working on right now is primarily just this details page. Pretty much everything else is already in master. But once this page has some basics on it, we are going to put it there. You know what? I'm going to go grab some lorem ipsum text. Hang on. Lorem ipsum. Give me some lorem ipsum. I don't care. Yeah, thank you. We're gonna put it here. Congratulations, we're lorem ipsuming this. Okay. There's our channel details for now. Which actually we don't need anywhere near that much channel details. We're gonna cut it. Shorter one. That's way too much. That looks more like a set of channel details right there. Okay. So pretend that that's something about the channel, and everyone will know that that's not really the details. Yeah, that's probably good. Oh, yeah, no, Toby, that is no problem, yeah. And if there are things you don't understand that you want to ask about, feel free to ask questions. I used to actually do a lot of, I used to do streams where we did, like, Learn to Code streams where we were teaching beginners and things like that. We are open to questions, so if you actually aren't, if you're confused by anything we do, feel free to chime in. I would be glad to answer those, because even people that have been coding for a long time, there's still value in, you know, re-referencing the basics, and there are a lot of things that that people, I guess, don't necessarily know, even though they've been coding for a long time. So okay. Yes. No, I'm not. No, not Esperanto. Lorem ipsum. Totally different thing. Definitely not doing Esperanto. I don't understand it. Wait, hang on. Mr. Bubs. Yeah, Mr. Bubs. Exactly. There is a great NuGet package that generates random. Oh, Simon, that sounds awesome. Feel free to post a link to that in the resources on Discord. That would actually be super useful. I would love to see that. Do you think it's possible to become a web developer without a degree? Moon King Arthur, absolutely, yes. 100% yes, you can become a web developer without a degree. You do not need one in order to do really any kind of web development. The challenge there being, you don't need the degree, but you do need to gain knowledge. So as long as you are motivated and will go out there and learn, you do not need to have a degree. Regarding getting like getting through the door and getting jobs, you'll need to find some way to do that, and there are a handful of ways to get around that. One of them being just make connections to people, and that's one of the ways to get in the door without one. Going through boot camps is another way to get through the door, because you need someone to say, you know, no, Moon King Arthur really does know, you know, programming. And that's essentially what you need. It's just someone that can vouch for the fact that you really know it, even though you don't have a degree. And that's just for your first job. Once you've got experience under your belt, like, and you've actually had some jobs, then that will preclude the need for any kind of a degree, because the experience is what will get you through the door. You do still have to have read enough books to know what you were doing. Yes, exactly. What Simon's mentioning. You're going to need to read a lot of books. You're going to need to assimilate a lot of information. You're going to want to really understand what's going on. And in fact, I would recommend, if you don't have a degree, go a little further on that, because you're needing to prove yourself more than someone else. Yeah, see, Will is actually correct. For $1,000, he will absolutely vouch for you. Haven't really decided on what language. Well, Toby, we do C# here. We like it, but it depends on what you want to build with it. For most just general programming jobs that are out there, you're probably going to find more that use C# than you will C++ these days, unless you're specifically wanting to go into a certain sector. So C++, if you want to go into game development, C++ and C# are good choices both. And for that, I would recommend you find out which type of games you want to build. For example, if that's the route you want to go. If you want to do like systems programming and things like that, you're going to do C++. Otherwise, if you're going to do like application development, C# will take you much further. If you get a PhD in computer science, is that enough to get a job? Root guy? No. In fact, I think getting a PhD in computer science is enough to make sure you don't get a job. In fact, I think in a lot of companies, the person with a master's degree in computer science actually has a harder time finding a job than someone that just has a bachelor's degree in computer science. And part of the reason for that is that the master's and PhD don't necessarily make you any better, like enough better at doing the programming job to account for the fact that there is an expectation that the master's degree or PhD holder will expect to get paid more for the job. So it can be a strike against you, but you like, that's not to say that if you want the knowledge and you know, absolutely go for it, but just understand that there is a chance that could preclude some jobs to you. Other ones, it can be a boon. So if you really want to go into some really advanced thing, then yes, getting the master's and PhD has value in that, but just keep in mind that could, you know, knock you out of the regular just working for a company business like job. The web UI expert on my team has a degree in silicon processing, basically can tell you how to take sand and create a process. Yeah, Digital Drummer, exactly. So keep in mind, I've worked with developers that had like chemistry degrees and people that didn't have any degree. You don't really need a degree. Is there value in having a portfolio up on GitHub? Yes, S&B. Yes, there is. The problem with that might be it's not certain you wrote any of it, I guess. No, there are ways that there are ways to make it seem like you. There's no guarantee that you wrote it, but there's pretty good ways of being like, yeah, he probably had, like he probably did. But yes, there's definitely value in having code out on GitHub. I do know that when I look at a resume and there's a GitHub link listed, that's a positive even if there's not anything public on the GitHub account. Just the fact that they included it tells me already, they think that that's valuable information for me to know that they have a GitHub account. And then if they're making it further, I will look into it. C++ is used a lot in trading too. Oh, yeah. That's what I was saying. You need to find out if there's a specific industry you want to use. You definitely want to dig into that. Go C#, since by the time you know what C# won't do for you that C++ will, you have learned how to program enough to have an easy time switching. Yeah, there you go, Simon. And welcome, Moon King Arthur. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Yes, HTML, official badger. There's some HTML there. Technically, this is technically Razor syntax in HTML, but yeah, it's there. Yeah, Digital Drummer seems pretty awesome. I agree. Don't know Digital Drummer personally, but well, unless I do, and I just don't know that I know Digital Drummer. Hang on 1 second. Okay, let me show you one thing. So I'm not logged in. GitHub.com/Benrick. So if I sent someone to my GitHub page, if they had this link, so because I'm in an incognito window, this is roughly what they would see. They would go here right now, and they would see this. Now, what's neat about this is if someone went here and saw this, they would probably be like, oh wow, that's awesome, you know, and this would help me get through the door. Who can I reference where it's going? S&B, hang on, I apologize for using your name here. Don't kill me. S&B's is another example here. This one also looks good. So I first off want to point out, never let your GitHub contributions, if yours is a blank slate, never let that make you feel bad about yourself, because not everyone has time to code open source contributions, and it should not be an expectation within our industry that you do. That being said, if there are things that you have done that differentiate yourself, so seeing this, someone will immediately say like, oh, that's actually awesome. S&B definitely contributes to stuff because you can see the commits. So here he made 17 contributions, 23 contributions. So you can see like, oh, S&B is actually working on open source projects, and this is an obvious and cool thing that is just out there. And now open source projects can be your own, so I can like look at repositories of someone's stream and just see what it is. So that's the cool thing about this, is you can dig in and actually look at what they're working on. And so like here I can see, oh, forked someone else's repo, has their own. Rubik's! Why? So thanks very much for the Twitch Prime sub, but I'm confused why it didn't list what your streak is, or how many times you've been subscribed. It should have mentioned it, because that is definitely not your first time being a subscriber here. But welcome! Glad you made it, and thank you very much again for the Twitch Prime sub. That's the word I'm looking for. So essentially what you want to have, Digital Drummer, yes, I will be there. They did not accept me to speak this year, which is disappointing. I was really hoping to do my talk on streaming, but they did not accept that one. They didn't accept my C# one either. Two awesome sessions that I love giving, and they didn't accept either one, which is disappointing. But what are you gonna do? I've spoken there before, but nope, won't be speaking there this year. let's see. Thanks, Official Badger. Glad you like the profile picture. That is like cartoon me from a bunch of years ago. I do like cartoon pictures of people. How to make GitHub valuable without making client work public. So, Ancient Coder, the way that you make it valuable is you do some of your own stuff on there. So, some people that I have worked with in the past did a couple of interesting things. This is one of my favorites I'm going to mention to you. A pair of junior developers at a company I worked for came up with this awesome idea. What they did was they worked on katas together and they pair programmed them. So sort of, kind of. They ping-ponged them using TDD. So what they would do is they would each just make a commit to the code base and then ping the other person to let them know that it was their turn. And they just kind of did this whenever, so if they had a free moment, whether they were at work, at home, whatever, they would then go and do like the 5 minute, like I'll just do a quick commit, and I didn't really spend a lot of time on it. So what they would do is they would either make a test pass and add a new test, so they would just make a test pass and add a new test, or they would do a refactoring or something like that along with it if it needed to get some refactorings out of there. But the idea is that they did these as open source projects that they were both contributing to, so it would just be a back and forth of commits, and then they would just review the other person's code, and they might, tell them, hey, to make some change or something like that. But that's the idea is all of those are then public commits to repositories. So someone else could go look at that and see like, oh, they built a kata, and it's kind of a neat thing. So if you wanted to take a look at the repositories, you might see that. And so that tells me that this is someone that is practicing, learning, and really, all in all, if I saw that in someone's GitHub repository, like if I saw that GitHub repository on their account, I would sit there and be like, okay, that person's awesome, hired, like done, straight up. You did a really awesome, like you are doing like intentional learning with someone else in a public space like that where you could get feedback on it. No, that is awesome. So really, really good stuff there. Toby, you want to be a software engineer? You've only got a few months left in high school, and then you're going to study computer science. Toby, that sounds like a great plan. That is a very good idea. And one of the nice things about computer science is that it is, generally speaking, leads you towards fields that can pay you reasonably well also. So if you are in the US and have to take on student loans or something like that, you should be able to pay them off with a computer science degree. But maybe you're not in the US and that's not even a concern. Lightman Den, .NET Dev, yes, awesome. Does the US have software engineering degrees as opposed to CS? S&B, yes. At some universities they do, but not at all of them. So I have a computer science degree, but I really just wanted them to get me a piece of paper that would let me do a job. So the majority of what I've learned programming is stuff on my own and with other people that were in the program and things like that. So we had fun when I was in college writing applications to destroy each other's computers, for example. So we would basically have competitions where a group of us would write code that we were going to run on, like we were going to run each person's code on like. So, like, there were just a few of us, and you would be waiting to run everybody else's code on your computer. You did a fresh install of your operating system before this, so you weren't actually messing up your stuff here. But it was basically like, we were coming up with ways you needed to break things the most. And then on your computer, you had to try and save it. So the idea being like, if I'm running Gentoo Linux, for example, everyone's going to write a program that is designed to crash my computer as hard as they can in the worst ways possible, and I'm supposed to start that program and then try to save my computer from destruction. So it's these are the kinds of things that you can do when you're just like, yeah, let's just program for fun. Let's see. SMB, we have computer science degree, computer information systems degree. Digital Drummer, some places actually do specifically have software engineering as like its own thing. Some do actually have that. There are some with actual programming degrees as well. Oh, Rubik's, yeah. See, 9 months. See, it is. You're at the 9-month one. Oh, Digital Drummer, awesome. I will see you at Star Trek then. That sounds good. Try and remind me of that, like, right before, and we can make sure we run into each other. Crimson Green might be there as well, so you can actually meet a few of us from the stream there. If you nuke your fork of someone else's repo, your contribution to GitHub, kill that history of your contribution. So if I nuke my fork of someone else's repo and I haven't sent them a pull request of my changes are no longer on GitHub and thus won't be represented, Simon. What are your thoughts on VBA? I don't have any problem with it. I'm not planning on writing in it. Short answer. I think that a lot of solutions have. I think that a lot of businesses have done some really amazing things with it, Root Guy. So I can't fault it too much. Which is sort of a stance I have with a lot of types of tech. Even if I don't plan on using something, it is hard to say that it wasn't valuable and didn't allow people to achieve a lot of things. So. Can I take a look at your GitHub? The official badger? Technically, I can take a look at your GitHub. I don't know why you want me to take a look at your GitHub. I don't know what it is. Is it the official badger? GitHub.com. Yeah, nope, I can't because I can't type. The wolf badger? Yep, you have a lot of good stuff on there. Oh, and you did the actual activity thing. So your recent contributions, if some, like, basically the short answer is, I would go here and I would probably say good things. My assumption would be something changed about your schedule at this point. So whenever I see like these big gaps and it's like there was nothing and then all of a sudden something, I assume something changed with your schedule that either allowed or disallowed you from making open source contributions. So that would be my big thing there. Other stuff that you would run into, first off, I already know, okay, this person does a lot of Java and does some PHP because you've got both in here without really looking at that sort of stuff. And this looks like a side project that you were working on recently because you're interested in March Madness. Specifically, you're probably someone that does that either does some serious things with brackets and wants to get information about that. So like you can learn a lot about someone just based on what they do. You forked a Minesweeper game using Canva. That's actually pretty awesome. So like the idea being that like I can take a look and say like, oh yeah, there's some really cool stuff. You've got some started projects, you have some people following you. I would generally think, yeah, no, this is a pretty positive one. I would absolutely put this on a resume. So if you're thinking about it, definitely do it because it's positive. The trick there is with putting a GitHub account on your resume, you need it to get in the hands of the developers. So you need your resume to be good enough to get past the like HR screening that resumes get. So at every organization I've ever worked for, there was always some HR person, some business person that read through resumes before they ever got in the hands of the developer. You need to make sure that whoever that person is doesn't throw out the resume. It's hard to say what their rules are for that, but my best advice for making sure your resume doesn't get thrown out, send it through someone you know that works at the company. Don't just toss it in the pile. So when you apply for a job, it is best to apply for it through someone you know there. So I had so funny enough, a friend of mine who I know from board gaming went and got a degree in programming, and I contacted her and I said, hey, when you're looking for jobs, like seriously, let me know and like where you're planning on applying, and I will contact them directly and give them your resume so that you don't just have to send it in. Now, the funny part is she ended up getting the job she applied for anyway and wanted, but literally her boss used to work for me. So, like, he was on my teams. So I could have just gone to him and been like, here's her resume, interview her, she's awesome. And it would have been, like, cakewalk. She would have been greenlit through, wouldn't have had to worry about so many other things, and she would have just probably just gotten the job. Because... like, you go in with a recommendation of someone that the person doing the hiring respects. Like, if you have that recommendation, you're gonna probably get the job unless, you know, there's some glaring problem or someone's really better than you. So always, if you have connections, use them. So that was the silly part on that one. It's like, not only did I know them, like, I know them well. Like, so... let's see. Is there a way to download other people's code and edit it in Visual Studio? Because when I tried, it just got me to download Visual Studio Code. If you install Visual Studio, you should be able to run it in Visual Studio. I'm not sure what the question there is, Toby. Does anyone here have the... Nope. Enemy of Life? I don't... Not me. VS Community Edition? Or maybe he wasn't using GitHub before? Oh, that's possible, Ancient Coder. Yeah, I didn't look at that. But yeah, especially if he's new to programming. I assumed anything not or into the source repo would be lost. Yes. The PRs would keep it alive, exactly. No problem. Swagger, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Official Badger, I'm glad people like my tips on that. But seriously, the one I'm telling you, if you know someone that works at the company you're applying to, find that out before you send in your resume. Like, it doesn't matter if they're the lowest person on the team, the highest person on the team, or if they don't even work there, and like you just have that secondary connection. Find out, do you have a connection to that software team already? I'm not kidding when I tell you, I don't get my jobs by sending my resume out. I don't, that's not what I do. That's not what most people do. It's, a lot of times it's, well, you know, I will cite, for example, I worked in an organization where our whole office was closed down all at once, and so what those of us with a lot of connections did was we started basically like sending our people to other places. Exactly, Specimen. The LinkedIn concept is real, right? LinkedIn is mostly full of people just sending you recruiting messages all the time, but you do want to go in based on someone's recommendation if you can. It's much better that way. So, good stuff. Okay. Where were we? In the good old days of 2001, when there were no jobs, companies received hundreds of applications on any programming ad, and some companies dumped hundreds of applications at the bin because it was too much to look through. Then you had to be creative to get... yeah, so... Yes, whenever there's a big crash in the industry, you might have that kind of a problem. But that requires a very special circumstance there, Fuel Snable. But then also, one of the ways around that is you don't go to the big tech companies when there's a crash in tech. You go and work for the other companies that were struggling to find devs anyway, and then you wait for the industry to come back around. Is the short answer there. And also, Fuel Snable, the nice thing about that is if you just dump half of the applications in the trash and just look through the other ones, it's actually a positive. And the reason why is that you don't want to hire unlucky people. Anyway. That's one of my favorite jokes, like, throw half the resumes away because you don't want to hire unlucky people. So we have that. We did not do it the way I was planning, but we did it. Link to the Twitch page from the model. Yeah, we should have the link. Channel details. Model dot channel dot URI. There we go. View at model dot channel name on Twitch. Yes, hard-coded to Twitch. We can look for that word, so that will actually help us fix some of those. But there we go. So view DevChatter on Twitch. I will put that after the detail. I will put that after the description, actually. There we go. View DevChatter on Twitch. All right, so we have a link. So there is a link to get to the page, and we are pulling the schedule data now as well. So we'll call those good. And I will get back to everybody in chat in a second. And let me just make some of these changes here. We're not committing that yet. Part of the reason why we're going to make sure we get this committed is the fact that S&B wants us to, because S&B is doing a pull request to us at some point soon, so I want to make sure that we don't have anything outstanding that he is waiting on. S&B, this is the bug fix that you did. Do you want, if you're there, do you want me to commit it in mine, or do you have it ready to go somewhere else? That's my question for you. If you have it ready to merge in somewhere else, we can use yours. If not, I did the same thing with my code. I'll commit it. Okay, sounds good. I just want to make sure that we don't collide on that, because it's an easy merge conflict to work around. So, showing the viewer's time zone. Yep. So this data is not correct, but it is at least there. Okay, so adding stream and session data to channel details. Okay. So there is the initial version of this page. It's not fancy, it's not pretty, but it gets the job done, and that's the big thing with a lot of this stuff, is actually making sure at some point that you complete a task. So I'm going to get this ready as a pull request, even if we don't merge it in. Channel details page. Yeah, we're not going to assign anyone. So that's this. It should have all of our changes in it, which, if I show you the original version of the page, you'll see was basically nothing, and then we added in what's actually there. There's the JavaScript for the page. Okay, great. Alright, let me check out chat. I apologize. This was works at a company that 3 employees. We received hundreds of applications for a rather uninteresting position. Yeah, that sounds about right, Fuel Snable. That you laugh at your jokes, but not mine, Brent. Will, I like your jokes. They're just fine. I just got to give you a hard time when the joke's bad. Because, when my joke's bad, you'll give me a hard time from chat, and when your jokes are bad, I got to give you a hard time from here. That's how it works. I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one who uses to-dos to keep track of what I still have to do. Yeah, so the official badger, the nice thing is that if I don't get rid of that to-do, if I leave it around, if I didn't finish one, it's still there as a to-do comment for later. So if I decide, hey, I'm not going to get to that just yet, the to-do comment's already written. Can you show how you get the channel status? Lightman Den! Yeah, we're calling the Twitch API. It's right here. So, is live. So right now we're just doing a single check. So we call out to the Twitch API streams, passing in the user ID that we want to check the status of, and that's literally it. We just deserialize the result and respond back if there is a stream that is live for that address. So this is just hitting the Twitch API and just asking it essentially like, hey, is there a stream currently going for that channel? And if so, then I'm just returning yes, essentially. Instead of the actual data for the stream, I'm just saying yes. I could pass back the data, but we didn't. If we ever need it, we can adjust the way that the method works. So, I'd suggest adding the About Us and link to a picture. Nice. Yeah. Took you 3 years to find a job you couldn't even apply to after you got tired of it. We need a pending IT disaster. No, I don't want a pending IT disaster, S&B. That sounds bad. Yeah, I agree with Fuel Snable. Please, no. Machine learning projects might be on their way towards causing that. Specimen, that could be. The only issue with to-do is they get a bit funky on a bigger team. Definitely somewhere to have a format and convention. Oh, yeah, no, Simon. If you're going to do a to-do comment, you have to do it in a way that will make it show up in your task list. If it won't show up in your task list, don't write it. And if you didn't know that this task list exists here, Visual Studio has a built-in thing. If you write a comment that starts with to do, it's going to show up in the task list. So it knows about all of them so that you can always find them. So it's not a search, it specifically is just finding those inside of comments. Very, very useful. Yes, as SNB is talking about there, some of the challenges with machine learning is there have been instances where people have found unintentional biases that the machine learning algorithms pick up, and that tends to not generally be seen as a good thing. It's like it was out of your control, but at the same time it's not the result people wanted, and it's kind of like so for example, I will cite something. I was at a company I worked for at one point, and I know I've mentioned this on stream before because it's a good example for things, is I worked on an application that distributed money to people. And so there are a couple of things with that where I wouldn't solve that with machine learning, despite the fact that it might be able to solve the problem effectively, and I will explain why I would not use machine learning for that. It might be able to figure out how to do all the distributions correctly, and you could probably train it to do so. The trick is that there were very clearly defined specific cases and rules for everything we did. So I had basically a unit test for every scenario we could come up with for how money could possibly get distributed in various ways, and how to deal with fractional pennies and other stuff like that. So if you've ever seen Office Space, yes, I've dealt with the fractional penny calculations before, where you're doing very small transactions, many of them, all the time. And so the challenge with that is that you need to be able to point out at any given moment the exact answer for how any given bit of money is going to be distributed, exactly how it's going to work. So you need the specific, here is the algorithm for how we distribute this money. It works exactly like this. There is no hand it off to some service that will distribute it correctly. There cannot be a black box. It has to be exactly known how it's done, because people care about how their money gets distributed. Instead of to do in code, my team requires a new user story to be added to the planning system, else there's no assurance that the to-do item will ever get done. Oh, Digital Drummer, yeah, no. That is totally legitimate. Yep, especially on large projects, you should absolutely create stories for that. The to-do comment is not as efficient. To-do comments in most of our stuff is like a little thing of most of the time when I use them outside of a project like this, it's someone should clean this up at some point, and it's no problem if they don't. And a lot of those kinds of to-do comments, someone either does them or gets rid of it, and either way it's fine, because it was not a thing that really needed to happen. It's hey, if you're here later on, clean this up. It's sort of like an attention to follow the Boy Scout rule. Is kind of the idea there. So, good stuff there, good stuff. On showing up in the task list is knowing which of the 20 to-dos use the $5. Yeah, so collective code ownership. It doesn't matter who created it. And Fuel Snable is correct. There's no assurance that a user story will ever get done either on most teams. Okay, so that's committed. That I'm not going to do anything with just yet. Parisian. There's a couple. So my configuration. I don't actually post this stuff, but I'm actually still running on a 3-year-old custom built desktop PC that I use here. It's fairly beefy, but as I said, it's a few years old. So it was much better at the time. Actually, I think it's over 3 years old now. It might be 3.5 years old. It's running DDR4. It's got a GTX 970, as I recall. I need an upgrade at some point, but it does fine for the stream. My laptops are generally just ones that I use for doing presentations and able to run Visual Studio. I don't use a Surface or Surface Book or anything like that, though I've been tempted for a long time to pick up the Surface Book because it really looks fantastic. But yeah, I primarily work on desktops for things. When I go places, I like them as well, because I like a big, I don't mind having a tower. It's like, I know people are like, oh, it takes up so much space. I'm like, well, yeah, but I like, the specs this computer had when I got it have changed, and I can add an additional hard drive if I need extra space. If I need more memory, I can just toss some more in there, so I can actually open it up and work on it. I'm a desktop computer fan. The desktop computer fans. I'm a 120 millimeter desktop computer fan. But anyway, yeah, the backlog is for the task that no one's ever gonna do. Yes, that'd be of life. The 120 sorry, would you prefer the 150 millimeter fan? Go to try out the Surface Giant monitor last week. Wow, it was good. Yes, I know, Digital Drummer. Yeah, the oh, that's cool, S&B. That's cool, you say. No, so the Surface computers, those are definitely the ones that I want to actually use at some point. Though I would still rather be running a desktop, I think, in most cases. As much as I really like the massive screen and everything, the Surface Workstation, whatever it's called, I do want to try that at some point. We'll see how that goes. All right, so a couple of things that I want to talk to people about while I have everyone here. Let me click these buttons over off my screen for a second. Hang on. Okay. All right. So, a couple of things. First off, since there are a bunch of people here, if you're new, welcome. Hi, my name is Brendan. This channel here is DevChatter. We usually stream about 4 times a week, though that varies based on my schedule. Obviously, I did not stream on Thursdays on this past Thursday because I was at a conference. I was at Momentum Dev Conference, which was a pretty fun conference, and I got to do my talk on streaming there, which is really fun. Sadly, the setup there was not able to get me the ability to do my live stream on that day, so what I was going to do is I was going to try to go live during my session about live streaming. It would have been really short compared to one of my streams here, but I would have at least been able to go live, but I didn't. So a couple of things I want to mention to people. So if you're new, first off, welcome. Feel free to chat, ask questions, engage with us during the stream, and there are a lot of people in the chat to talk with. Also, check out our Discord. I linked to it in the chat, and it's also down below the stream. Discord's a chat application if you don't know that, and there are a reasonable amount of people in there. So if you want to ask questions about coding stuff, if you want to talk to people about ASP.NET, .NET Core, we have a lot of Microsoft people, but we also have a lot of people that use other languages as well. Like we've got F# devs, Java devs, and other things like that. Not as many, but there are. You can't link in chat. That's true, Fuel Snable. It's episode 1626 on .NET Rocks. Someone was asking a question about something. I will have to read those. Do you listen to the .NET Rocks functional web program? Got a giant monitor the other year, messing with programming. Yes, monitors are great. So, the couple of things that I want to mention. So I mentioned Discord. You can chat with us. There's a bunch of us over there. That's where we chat outside the stream. One of the common things is just ranting about the annoying stuff that goes on in our day jobs. That's usually in our rants channel. Also, if you're interested in contributing to any of our projects, be it the DevStreams one or any of our others, or if you just want to look at the code, you can find our GitHub at github.com/devchatter. Link over there in the chat. And if you want to watch any of our previous episodes of anything, because again, we're on episode like 179 of DevChatter, and the recent ones are here in the video section on Twitch, but we have our full archive on YouTube going back to the beginning of the stream over a year ago, and you can find that at youtube.com/c/devchatter. And then also I want to make sure I link to my Twitter. Again, all of these links are down below the stream as well as over in the chat. The next stream of DevChatter will be on Monday. Yeah, Monday's the day. At 2 p.m. As you all know, I'm sure I am going to be scheduling in some guests to be on the stream. We are bringing Guy Royce back on. No one's surprised there. I mentioned that already. We're going to do some WebAssembly with Guy Royce, and I'm trying to get Bill Senf back on the stream to do some security stuff with us, so that should be fun. So we'll see how that goes. Either way, what are we going to do? I'm going to click a couple of buttons first off. So, first things first. I want to have us raid, we're probably going to raid James after this one. So I will send us over there. So I did mention that we are going to be streaming on Monday, and I'm going to click this button. So please hang out, stick around with us for this raid. So I want to thank our moderators, Crimson Green, S&B, Greendolf, Stoolpenner was here too. I think Stoolpenner's probably one of our moderators. And the followers that we got today, thank you very much for following. And our subscribers, Snickering, Will Bennett, Midton, Stoolpenner, and Rubix. Thanks for those subs today, much appreciated. And hopefully you see your name. Yeah, you're going to Disney World. No, that's not what that means. That really just means I'm saying thank you for that stuff. And yeah, see, Will's one of our VIPs too. That's why he's got that diamond by his name. The people here are awesome. I am going to suggest that you stick around and check out James's stream. It should be a good one. So we will all head on over there together, so don't go anywhere. What I do suggest that you do, if you have the emotes, if you subscribe to our channel, we're just going to be spamming our DevChahype emote over there. If you like, you can spam DevChaDerps as well. So the derps are these ones, in case you didn't know. So that's this and this. That we're going to spam all over his chat, kind of like that, when we get there. So stick around for this raid, please. And have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks. Happy coding, everyone. And I will see you on Monday. Take care.